What would you do if a cop held out his hand and said, "Hand me your unlocked phone right now"? If you give it over, you could expose your texts, photos, apps, alerts, and location clues in seconds. One nervous move can turn a basic traffic stop into a whole new investigation. Hit subscribe right now because what I am about to show you could protect your freedom and your privacy when stress hits and your mind goes blank. Smash like too, so you can find this video fast when you actually need it. Let me show you exactly what can go wrong and how you stop it before it starts. Your unlocked phone is not just a phone. It is your camera roll, your messages, your bank alerts, your work chats, your search history, and your social media. Sometimes even your face or thumb act like a key. Most people have no idea how much they reveal the second that screen lights up in someone else's hand. Here's the reality. You do not need to argue. You do not need to be rude. You do not need to act like a lawyer. You just need a few short lines you can say under pressure. In this video, you are going to learn the exact sentence that blocks consent. You will learn the smart way to keep control of your device, the mistake people make with Face ID and Fingerprint unlock, and what to say if the officer keeps pushing. Here's the trick they do not want you knowing. A calm answer beats a nervous explanation every single time. Now think about what usually happens to you in a stop. Your heart starts pounding, your hands get shaky. You want the whole thing over fast. So when an officer sounds casual and says, "Can I see your phone? Can you unlock that? Or can you pull up that text?" You may say yes just to keep things smooth. That is where people get hurt. Not with force, with pressure, with tone, with a request that sounds small. You tell yourself it is no big deal. You tell yourself you have got nothing to hide. But that is the wrong frame. This is not about hiding. This is about control. Once your phone is open, you may expose far more than the one thing they asked about. A message preview pops up. A photo thumbnail shows. A contact name appears. A banking alert hits your screen. Suddenly your traffic stop is not just about your speed. It is about your whole digital life. The first thing you do is refuse consent, clearly and calmly. Here's exactly what you say. "Officer, I do not consent to any search of my phone," word for word. Memorize that line. Keep your voice normal, keep your face calm, then stop talking. That line matters because consent is the shortcut. If you volunteer access, you make the officer's job easier. If you refuse access, the legal road gets harder for them. And you do not need a long speech. In fact, long speeches hurt you. The more you explain, the more openings you give. If you say, "Well, I guess it depends," or "I do not mind if you just check one thing," you start blurring your own boundary. You want a clean line, no confusion, no mixed signal. Bad way. Most drivers say, "Sure, it is right here." Then the officer sees way more than the driver expected. Good way. Smart drivers say, "Officer, I do not consent to any search of my phone." Then the officer now has a clear barrier in front of them. Watch what happens when you use that sentence. The stop does not magically end. The officer may still look annoyed. They may ask again. They may act like your refusal makes you look guilty. Do not chase their approval. Your job is not to sound innocent. Your job is to protect your rights. This is 100% legal. You are allowed to say no to consent. And this is not just internet talk. This comes straight from Supreme Court rulings. In Riley v. California, the court said police generally must get a warrant before searching digital data on a phone. In plain English, the court looked at modern phones and said, these are not just pockets with a few papers inside. These are mini vaults full of private life. So if an officer wants the data, the normal rule is simple. Get a warrant. That is why your first line matters so much. You are not deciding the whole case on the roadside. You are preserving your position. You're making it clear you did not volunteer the search. If the officer later tries to say you were cool with it, your words help shut that down. Defense attorneys use this exact line in court because it shows you drew the line early and clearly. And if the officer says, if you have got nothing to hide, why not just show me? Do not take the bait. That question is designed to make you defend your character instead of protecting your rights. Your answer is not a debate. Your answer is the same line again. Officer, I do not consent to any search of my phone. If you repeat it, you sound controlled. If you argue, you sound reactive. Big difference. You also need to understand what an unlocked phone can reveal before anyone even starts digging. A lit screen can show message previews. A recent app can stay open. Photos can sit in plain view. Notifications can expose names, places, and money. If your device is already open, even a quick glance can reveal pieces of your life, pieces you never meant to hand over. So your first job is simple. Do not create consent. Do not hand over an open door. Have you ever had someone in authority ask for your phone on the spot? Tell me in the comments, because that pressure freezes a lot of good people. The second thing you do is keep control of the device and keep it locked. Let me show you exactly what that means in real life. If your phone is in your hand, put it away. If it is unlocked, lock it. If the officer asks you to hand it over, you do not pass it across the window just to be polite. You keep it with you unless a lawful order or warrant changes the situation. And here's the line that helps you reset the moment. You look at the officer and say this: "Officer, I'm keeping my phone locked. Am I being detained or am I free to leave?" Those exact words are short, calm, and useful. That line does two jobs for you. First, it tells the officer you're not helping open the device. Second, it checks the mission of the stop. A traffic stop is supposed to have a mission, license, registration, insurance, warning, or ticket. Then you leave. If the officer starts dragging things out to fish for more, that matters. Bad way. Most drivers say, "Here, take it. I will unlock it for you." Then the stop gets bigger, longer, and more dangerous. Good way. Smart drivers say, "Officer, I am keeping my phone locked. Am I being detained or am I free to leave?" Then you force the moment back toward the actual reason for the stop. Here is the reality. A lot of people accidentally help build the case against themselves because they want to seem cooperative. They scroll through the phone to find proof of insurance. They open a text to show where they were going. They pull up a map. They hand the device over because they think refusing will look suspicious. But your phone is not like a paper card. Once you start tapping and swiping under pressure, you create risk. A wrong app opens. A notification drops in. The officer sees something unrelated and now wants answers. That is why smart drivers plan ahead. Keep paper insurance in your car if your state allows it. If you use digital proof, keep it ready before the officer walks up, if you can do that safely. Better yet, show the screen yourself and keep the phone in your hand. Do not pass your whole device over unless the law clearly requires something specific. Legal experts agree this is your strongest protection. Control the device, control the view, control the exposure. And if the officer says, "Why are you making this hard?" do not get pulled into emotion. Calmly repeat, "Officer, I am keeping my phone locked. Am I being detained or am I free to leave?" That question matters because of another big case called Rodriguez versus United States. The Supreme Court said police cannot stretch a traffic stop longer than needed for the original reason, unless they have real reason to suspect something else. In plain English, they cannot turn a broken taillight into a fishing trip. This is 100% legal. You're allowed to ask if you're free to leave. You're allowed to keep your phone locked. You're allowed to refuse a voluntary search. That does not mean the officer will like it. It means you're using your rights the smart way. Now, the third move may be the most important one if you use Face ID or fingerprint unlock. Listen closely because this is critical. If an officer keeps pushing, you do not unlock the device with your thumb. You do not unlock it with your face. You do not type in your passcode to clear things up. Here is exactly what you say: "I do not consent to unlocking this device, and I will not provide a passcode." Keep that line simple. Keep it steady. Why is this so important for you? Because phone law gets messy fast when biometrics are involved. Some courts have treated a passcode differently from a finger or a face scan. That means if you rely on biometrics, you may face extra risk in some places, in some situations. The safest move is easy. Do not help unlock the phone at all. If you're worried about police contact ahead of time, use a strong passcode and turn off Face ID. Turn off fingerprint unlock before high-risk situations. That one habit can save you from a lot of trouble. Bad way. Most drivers say, "Fine, I will unlock it so we can get this over with." Then the screen opens and the damage starts. Good way. Smart drivers say, "I do not consent to unlocking. I do not consent to unlocking this device, and I will not provide a passcode." Then you stop helping the search happen. Here is the reality. Once the phone is open, you cannot pretend it is still private in the same way. A quick look becomes a deeper look. One photo becomes a thread. One thread becomes a name. One name becomes another stop, another search, or another charge. And even if the officer later needs a warrant for a deeper search, you may have already given them leads they did not have before. This comes straight from Supreme Court rulings in modern phone cases. Riley protected the massive privacy stored inside a phone. Courts have fought over forced biometric unlocking. One major federal case, United States versus Brown, warned that compelled biometric unlocking can raise Fifth Amendment problems because it can show control and knowledge of the phone. The simple lesson is not to become the tool. Do not become the tool that opens the vault. If you're still here, you're already ahead of most drivers. Drop a comment saying, "I am still here," because what comes next is the part people forget under pressure. The fourth move is for the moment when the officer keeps pressing. Maybe they ask what is on the phone. Maybe they ask who you were texting. Maybe they say, "Just tell me the passcode and we will be done." That is when you stop explaining and ask for counsel. You say this: "I want a lawyer, and I'm not answering questions about my phone." Then you stay quiet. That line protects you because pressure makes people chat. You start trying to sound normal and make jokes. You explain old messages. You talk about who called you. You say the phone is not even yours. Or you say it is yours, but a friend used it. That talking can hurt you more than the phone itself. Once you start explaining, you give the officer new facts, new leads, and new reasons to keep going. Bad way. Most drivers say, "It is no big deal. I can explain everything on there." Then they talk themselves into trouble. Good way? Smart drivers say, I want a lawyer and I am not answering questions about my phone. Then the flow of new information stops. You do not need to sound dramatic or yell rights like in a movie. Just say the line once, maybe twice if needed, then stop feeding the situation. Defense attorneys use this line in court because it shows you did not keep volunteering information. Legal experts agree this is your strongest protection when the conversation shifts to your digital life. And if the officer says, why do you need a lawyer if you did nothing wrong? Ignore the trap. Innocent people need protection too. You're not asking for a lawyer because you're guilty, but because you are smart. Your phone holds years of your life. No roadside conversation is a safe place to explain all of that. Now let us pull this together. Riley v. California said police generally need a warrant before they search digital information. Rodriguez v. United States said police cannot drag out a traffic stop longer than needed for the original reason. United States v. Brown showed how forcing a thumb unlock can raise serious constitutional problems. The big lesson for you is simple. Do not consent, do not unlock, do not help stretch the stop into a phone search. Those cases all point in the same direction. Your calm words matter because they protect your legal position. Now, picture a real stop with me. You get pulled over at night. Your phone is on the console. It lights up when a friend texts you. The officer sees the glow and asks, whose phone is that? You say it is yours. Then the officer says, hand it here and unlock it for me. Watch what happens if you do this the wrong way. You grab the phone fast and laugh nervously. You say, sure, no problem. You unlock it. A message preview pops up. The officer asks who that is. Now you are answering questions that have nothing to do with why you got stopped. Now watch what happens when you do it the right way. You keep your hands calm. You do not reach for the phone unless needed for safety. You say, officer, I do not consent to any search of my phone. If the officer keeps pushing, you add, officer, I'm keeping my phone locked. Am I being detained or free to leave? If they demand unlock help, you say, I do not consent to unlocking this device and I will not provide a passcode. If the questions keep coming, you finish with, I want a lawyer and I am not answering questions about my phone. Feel the difference there. In the wrong version, you do the work for them. In the right version, you create a wall. You do not win by being loud. You win by being clear. You just need 4 sentences and discipline. Coming next week, I'm breaking down what to say when cops claim they smell weed and push for a search. Subscribe right now because that tactic gets people talking themselves into charges every single day. So let us lock this in. First, never consent to a phone search. Say the line and keep it simple. Second, keep your phone locked and keep control of it. Ask if you are being detained or free to leave. Third, never use your face, thumb, or passcode to help unlock the device. Fourth, ask for a lawyer if pressure builds. Your phone is not just another object in your car. It is a map of your life. Stay safe with it. Hit subscribe so you catch that next video before you need it in real life. Smash like if this helped you see your phone differently and maybe saved you from a huge mistake. And drop a comment telling me which line you're going to memorize first. Stay calm, stay clear, stay safe out there.